Greetings, this is Body-Culinary sending you all some warm, positive vibration. So, on this channel, I love to prioritize relaxation. Relaxation is huge to our health, it is very foundational to our esteem. In the presence of being extremely triggered, which, as we can observe, we're in an environment of constant triggeration. We're enticed and triggered to a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors that put a lot of our health and our vitality, our focus at risk. We're putting ourselves in harm's way. And so a lot of times we're seeking outside of ourselves for answers. And I invite you to explore relaxation. Some people will call it meditation. If that is loaded full of all different types of pictures or connotations, feel free to just look at it as simple relaxation. So I was sitting here in the quiet and I was vibing. In the quiet, you can hear so much of your own thoughts come up, which I think is a wonderful, simple process. So you can question all the programs and messages that are floating around in there that is driving quite often a lot of our behaviors. So I was sitting here and I was reasoning, having my tea with our beauty mark. So that's what we're going to explore from a perspective of relaxation. So I invite you, if you have a few minutes, to find a comfortable position. You may want to sit up in a chair if you have issues with your back, or to sit on a yoga block to sit your glutes or your buttocks on a yoga block to help your hips come off the floor, which can allow your butt to come off the floor and allow your hips to open, to find a very comfortable space. So we're going to just go into some relaxation that perhaps can be helpful to your esteem and how you feel about yourself. So you're going to explore your thoughts and whatever comes up for you. And you're welcome to share that later if you like inside of the comments. For those of you that are new to this channel, welcome, greetings. I'm Body-Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer for many years. I'm a mother. I'm a natural born woman, coming to you with mammary glands, and I do have, menstrual cycle and all of that stuff. Shout out to whatever your presentation is. I'm a lover of all things natural, or as natural as I can get it in the current environment that we're in. And on this channel, I share and encourage motivation to start and cultivate a garden because it has so many benefits. To start, reactivate, explore a personal movement practice, again, so deeply therapeutic. And I love also to encourage peaceful consumption. I'm almost out of my tea. So usually I have water in a wine glass to spot finish with my tea. What that looks like, peaceful consumption over here, you will find your own sweet spot. What that has looked like for me for many years is consumption patterns focused around whole, fresh living, unprocessed fuel, light fuel, as I like to call it. Fresh fruits, vegetables, fresh herbs. Hopefully you're starting a garden so you can pull some. Sprouted legumes and fresh spices, freshly ground spices. And some folks may think it's a lot of work. It's actually, though, depending on your perspective, it's wonderful, active meditation and quality time spent with yourself, because we deserve the very best. I know many of us are focused on our mouth and the party in our mouth. Quite often, we're not present. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance without making ourselves bad or wrong. There's a pace that we're moving about in this environment, and it doesn't lend itself to us being present. What do I mean? Present to the amounts we're putting into our body, present, slowing down to really acknowledge the magnitude of the ingredients that we're putting into our body, being very present to the lack of life force and energy and electricity that's inside the foods. Yet down the line, we're almost shocked and surprised when we have a lot of dis-ease and growth showing up in the body. So the food is definitely huge in our toolbox of vitality and longevity. It's not the only thing, right? Also, our thoughts and everything that we're consuming. So, this consumption right now that we're looking to consume is relaxation. So, it's not a physical food per se, it's an intangible. These intangibles are huge, huge. As someone that's a personal trainer and a coach, I've seen a lot over the years, even as someone that's competed in fitness. And I always look at patterns in terms of why people have the results that they have and who is able to sustain a vitality, longevity lifestyle that also takes into consideration our mental and emotional health. So, you're also welcome to comment respectfully in the comment section. You're welcome to like the video if you find some value here, or perhaps to share it with someone who could find value, or perhaps even replay this as you're moving about the house, perhaps washing your dishes or decluttering or beautifying your home space, or if you're in your garden. What we're consuming mentally has a big impact on the behaviors that are showing up all over the place. We're moving about very mindlessly and on automatic pilot quite often. So, that being said, what I wanted to touch in today is actually just take a short time for a relaxation practice. And relaxation is sitting quietly, right? There's also contemplation. Some people use mantras or words of power, but there's also a practice called contemplation. And contemplation is where you ask a question, perhaps something you're working on, working through a decision, or perhaps you're exploring, asking the question of your own behavior, of your own behaviors, and you allow in the quiet those answers to come up for you. You're tapping into or really allowing and listening to your own divine onboard innate intelligence, which each and every human being popped out onto this 3D plane with. That intelligence is it's untouchable. It's untouchable. However, it's not going to fight with all of the noise in the outside environment. But there's a constant communication. Some people call it voices. It's intelligence, right? This human suit is infused with intelligence. People have different religious names they put on it, trying to figure it out. However, we all know that there's an intelligence. There's an automatic intelligence that's allowing the plants to grow and the flowers to grow, and allowing things in the garden to go into compost. There's an intelligence that allows our skin to heal. There's also an intelligence in terms of us taking in stimulus from the outside world into the eyes, into the ears, into the skin with the mechanoreceptors, and we're processing it. Part of how we're processing it is affected, a large part, by the instructions that we're taking in, the messages and instructions that are being processed by the brain with all of the things that we're watching on the screens. That's the simplest way I can put it. So, without necessarily making it a big production, because simple is sustainable. Simple is sustainable. I invite you to consider contemplation. So that's what we're going to explore today. Now, something I want to touch on, I want to make very, very clear. I'm not the food police. I'm not the hair police. We are all on our own journey. I am not here. I'm in no position to put anyone down for their type of work. That's not my job. For how they wear their hair, if they wear makeup, if they don't wear makeup. I'm not concerned at this particular point in time who turns or shows up here with their religion. Because for me, and where I sit at this point in my life, your religion is what you are doing, not what you're saying out of your mouth. So I'm not jumping onto the bandwagon of anybody's religion at this point. I've done my rounds and my experiences with that. I think there's something bigger. It can be very divisive. I could care less, or it's not my concern if somebody has a perm or wig or full fresh face of makeup. I can appreciate aesthetics and beauty in all of its forms. So that being said, I have my own experience in my journey. I can appreciate. I have my own preference. We have our own preferences. So that being said, the contemplation today, if you're in a comfortable space, is your beauty mark. And I invite you to try on confidence and health, right? When we think of beauty, I'd like you to think of a glow that emanates from health. A lot of us we look for clear skin and we put on makeup because we want to experience clear skin. However, it's interesting that we get more messages about putting things on top of this large eliminative organ, right? That's key. The skin is communicating to us, it's working in cohorts, in synergy, in synchronicity with the organs. So if we're constantly covering it up, and I'm saying this as someone that had a tremendous amount of cystic acne, in covering it up, I can't see what it's doing. So I would say at this point, I bless that acne. As one of my mentors used to say, I'm under heavy manners. I used to wonder, why am I eating so healthily and my skin still looks crazy? That was very emotionally painful for me. However, if I sat back in quiet and honesty, my organs, my body was communicating. And so to walk outside without the makeup, all of the different judgments and my thinking about what other people were thinking about me or accepting it in had me at some point putting makeup on that. So I invite you to consider the health of your human suit, what you have been consuming, your human suits, the size of it, the functioning of it. Some things are out of our control, but a lot of what we're seeing is as a result of whatever we have been consuming consistently. Without making ourselves bad or wrong, we are, however, 110% responsibility. What do I suggest for dark marks on the body? Um, Greetings, Emily. Exfoliation and what you're eating, antioxidants. So exfoliation and moisturizing. Moisturizing for me comes primarily from inside and my movement practice. Because again, we can be putting a lot on the outside, but how can I like to communicate in pictures? Kind of if you think of like if I sat in this spot cross-legged, for the longest time, my legs would start to get numb, things would start to stiffen and shut down because there's no movement. So again, um, I think that our we have our brain, and then the function of the brain is mental capacity. The functioning of it is compromised by a lot of trauma, and we may not be considering that a lot of what things that have happened to us and things we're ingesting and watching traumatize us into a state of paralysis or into a state where we don't move, we don't get into action. So many of us, either we're in pain, physical pain, or mentally we're resistant to a movement practice because of internalized judgments, and also due to not feeling vital and energized because there's so much emotions, mental programming, and literal food that is clogging the body and excess consumption of food, even if it's from the health food store. Too much popcorn, too much we're eating too much. So we're here. The body's electric. It heals itself. We get on all these cleansing programs. This body's a cleansing and building organism. So the skin is regenerative. If we're allowing even the healthy things that we're in to be metabolized and fully digested, a lot of us are not even digesting the expensive things that we're putting into it. So I think at a basic level, it's hydration, not just from water, but also from the living foods that we're eating, exfoliation, moisturizing, and preserving the skin. When I say preserving, not with preservatives, but taking excellent care of this of this human suit, and exfoliation. I think it can get really, really simple when we take a lot of things, a lot of the distraction away. Then you can start to see and pinpoint if I need to do more of something, less of something. Am I sleeping enough? If you are in a situation where you are not able to sleep as much, the sleep or you putting your cord back into the charger, is it quality sleep that you're getting? If we were to get quiet, we might notice that we're on edge, that we're not sleeping even when we go down. So we're in what I call a state of triggeration. So in that state of triggeration, there's so many different hormones and chemicals that are functioning to protect the body. So it can't rest and it can't heal, even with spending more and more money, on more things and things from outside. So there's no way around. The body doesn't give two peach pits about our schedule. It wants sleep. It likes rhythms. It wants fresh nutrient dense fuel, and it also needs the time, it needs space and time to metabolize and digest what we're eating. It needs time to process and put into context and a healthy narrative what we're ingesting through our eyes and through our ears. So my son would say, "Ma, that's long-winded." He wants me to give him the quick answer a lot of times. However, I find the quick answer is usually not sustainable. It's not you're not able to sustain it and to activate something if we're not comprehending how the body works, how it heals, and then whatever healing modality we decide to try and emphasize. At some point, we got to do our own experimentation. And how much tea do you need? How much food do you need? That I found requires quiet so you can get some feedback. So there are some scars that will fade. There's sometimes that we do permanent damage to ourselves. And I can say this to someone that's coached numerous women to lose hundreds of pounds. So there's so much that's coming up. So I invite us to try on simple relaxation that does not need a big production. So with that, the contemplation that I was thinking of is our unique beauty mark. And when I say beauty, what the context that I mean beauty in is health. We are all at our most attractive, and attractive is also a feeling as well as our physical aesthetics when we are healthy. And I invite you to consider healthy as being unencumbered and unclogged. So again, hopefully you're in your relaxed pose so you can be comfortable. A big part of relaxation and contemplation is sitting comfortably so you're not distracted by back pain or shoulder pain. Once you take a lot out of the way, you can start to have more of a noticing what's going on in your body temple and what's going on inside of your mind that is driving all of your behaviors. And sometimes we can't, the ego part of ourselves, it can't see. It has a function, it gets a bad rap. The ego part of our mental functioning does have a purpose. Doesn't for us take forever to fade, and others have been there for decades. I would say there's something called the doctrine of signature, and the doctrine of signature in nature is telling you a lot about the behavior of the plant. Just like scars, I have stretch marks that I got in the last week of my pregnancy, and I was really upset because I was like, I was loving my way my stomach looked. However, there was a more seasoned mom who said to me, what did she say? That's your badge of honor. And I was actually quite irritated when she said that because I was thinking like, that's my stomach. This kid messed up my stomach. And there have been several nuggets folks have given to me that looking back, it took some maturity to appreciate the different phases of life. So hopefully you're in a comfortable position because we're going to go into relaxation. The phases of life. We are groomed and conditioned to run away from the crone phase. Most folks want to stay in this youth phase forever. And so this is one woman's perspective. If this is not the truth, I invite you, please leave it right here. I'm not here to debate. I'm sharing one woman's perspective. So the fears, right? We have the 6 basic human fears. You can look them up. The fear around not being chosen, right? Fear of loss of love, fear of death, fear of illness, fear of poverty. There's 6 fears. And so a lot of fear is coming up around not being chosen, being alone, feeling unsafe. A lot of this is actually what is marketed underneath. There's an undertone. There's an under message that is being marketed to us as folks are peddling products. Now, again, I love, glam and being a woman, all that other stuff. However, the foundation, not being aware of that foundation is actually what leaves a lot of us vulnerable to be manipulated, not only by folks selling us products, folks with their own insecurities, issues, narcissists, cults. We're open and vulnerable because, first of all, we may not see another kind of example in someone who has gone through it, kicking it and giving us the hard-earned wisdom. And also companies study human psychology more than we do. A lot of times we may at best be coming from a perspective of religion, which has been manipulated, rewritten, and revised with specific intentions in mind. And we don't consider this because we're just looking for the relief. However, in your quiet moments, you can start to hear your own divine onboard innate intelligence that each and every human popped out onto this planet with. And I invite you to ask, who should I be trusting more? Another man, woman on the internet, somebody with a particular kind of outfit on who has claimed themselves ordained to be of divine? How does their divinity or their listening or their interpretation trust? How does it trump what I was born with? So, just something to consider, how our confidence has been usurped, has been compromised. So, in the simple practice of relaxation, I literally mean relaxation, quiet, starting to value the quiet, the communications that come up for you in quiet, where and to run from quiet. I think quiet is just for monks, and priests. However, there's so much information to be had for you in quiet moments. Do I mean sitting around all day meditating? No. When you're doing basic tasks around, there can be moments for literal moving meditations when you're washing your dishes or when you're folding your clothes or decluttering. Different things are coming up for you, but we're running away from it. I invite you to relax and to listen instead of listening to everybody else, or find some support in your listening, to get quiet and to ask questions of your own communication system. There's a communication system that you were born with. And so when I think of our beauty mark or our glow or our health or our confidence, beauty, someone else outside of us, and teams of people sitting in a focus group in a boardroom that are deciding on which products to market to us, they have an intention for the standard of beauty. So we see more locks, but this is still not the standard. And every woman has her unique doctrine of signature, her unique DNA genetic stamp. I actually think slanted eyes are beautiful. I've had some folks that I work with that have very, very pale white skin. Why should anybody feel uncomfortable with the package that they popped out on here? Who wrote the narrative? Who is writing the narrative? It just makes sense to me that it's a conflict of interest that somebody has set the standard for how I should alter myself and keeps moving for profit and keeps moving the bar. So this is why I have decided to take that off the table. Somebody that's having a bad day or has had a bad experience, and I remind them of something, or maybe perhaps because I'm a woman, decides to come on anonymously and to make an effort or an attempt to either with their keyboard, with their verbiage, to assault me or to what's the word, vampire my energy, my attention, to get a rise or to get an engagement. This is really interesting, the climate that we see on the internet. So I'm unapologetic about protecting my psyche, my mood. All this has chemical reactions inside of the body. All of this compiles to drive your behaviors. All of this compiles to have you eating and medicating ourselves, even with heavy food, mindlessly. So quiet is a companion. We run from it. But there are certain things that can be so freeing and that you actually have access to, if this makes sense. So I invite you to come to ask a question of your own divine innate intelligence. What is your unique genetic stamp? What is something that is really, really unique? I know for me as an Afro person, it's nobody else has this, right? That unique doctrine of signature of slanted eyes or the pale skin. All human beings have unique stamp, doctrine of signature. It's, when I'm working with the plants in the garden, they have unique properties. Some need more sun, some need less sun, some need different ratios of minerals inside dirt that's around them. Some of them like a bald area around the base of the plant, and some of them like to be around companion plants. So the whole concept of beauty is somebody else is writing the story. I invite you to write greetings. I invite you to investigate and to question. I invite you to question the narrative and who should be in control of your narrative. This again, while I say I have made a conscious decision to take the beauty and I'm going to put it here. Now, that might be frightening for people. I'm going to put the beauty here. You can keep beauty. You can keep beauty because, as we have seen, seen even the most beautiful women in the world, Ciara, Halle Berry, like, I mean, it goes on. They get cheated on. This is not from a point of victim mentality. They can receive ugly treatment and have received ugly treatment. So just being physically beautiful hasn't been enough to save us or garner us consistent treatment. Having lots of character and being religiously pious and making the best meals, because I throw down and I've served some beautiful meals for folks. But doing all of these things that we think to garner attention, that has not prevented us from ugly treatment. So rather than be angry at folks and be pent up and creating fibroids and tumors and cysts and anger, I have found it more effective and beneficial to have a comprehension, right? So that I can make better choices. If I had to go back and say to myself in my 20s and my 30s, not allowing myself to be put myself, to allow myself. Folks can do stuff to you, but a lot of times we're allowing ourselves to be placed in harm's way. Our reproductive organs, our psyche, our money. We'll let everybody into our psyche, our purses, and our pocketbooks and our panties. We're allowing it in naivete and in ignorance. So perhaps how we can neutralize that is by getting into the simple practice of quiet and relaxation and cultivating that as a muscle. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out process. It can be as elaborate as you want, but I'm real about practicality. We have to clean, we have to bathe ourselves. So being intentional, being very intentional. Don't need a religion, don't need a name for it. Being very intentional about your quiet time, because you'll find as you start to go into the garden, you're going to find different thoughts come up for you, solutions from your own onboard innate intelligence. So your glow, your health, your vitality, whatever your features are, if your nose is like this and your skin is like chocolate, if it's got mixed with patches and whatever colors on it, your confidence. Is confidence the same thing as beauty? It's been sold as it's the same thing. However, with radical self-acceptance, with accepting yourself, even if you're not chosen, even if you're single, it's not a death sentence. A lot of times, the folks that didn't choose you is saving you some trouble, saving you some STDs, unwanted pregnancy, and so on. This is not about, we don't have to hate anyone that doesn't choose us. The confidence in your experience on this 3D plane, because everybody on this live, we shall all lay down our human suits. Someone is writing the narrative and is constantly triggering and smacking you upside the head with bricks of fear and triggering fear. I invite you to explore contemplation, quiet, and relaxation as a way to neutralize all that is competing for the very valuable real estate of your mind, which is driving all of your behaviors, and your subconscious, which is driving 90%, if not more, of all of your behaviors. Right? So I invite you to take a comfortable position. We're just going to do some simple breathing. And we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, making the effort to notice if our inhale and our exhale, if they are even, if it is forced, how it feels. Kind of, if you think of like either your ear to a conch shell, or if you think of the sound of Darth Vader in his mask, right, as we inhabit these human suits. Very deep and very calm, considering that your lungs are up here, not in the throat, breathing very, very deeply, allowing the lungs to fill with air and to push out old, stale air, allowing your shoulders to drop down and away from your ears, being very, very relaxed. And then we'll do some contemplation. So again, you're invited to ask a question of your own divine, onboard, innate intelligence. I invite you to consider, what is your most prominent, unique feature on your human suit? Is there any, or are there any features on your human suit that bring a smile to your face when you pass by the mirror? How do you feel about the hair that pops out of your scalp that you have been divinely assigned? Do you like the touch and the feel of it? Do you feel appreciative of it? Do you feel irritated by it? Are you in acceptance and veneration and appreciation of the healthy features that you have been divinely assigned? Do you groom your human suit? Do you take the very best care of it? Do you put vitalizing fuel into it? Are you cognizant of the amounts that you need? I invite you to consider, have you digested all of the expensive supplements and meals that you have taken in? Are you allowing enough space and time and calm to digest the meals that you have taken in? Do you have smooth, easy elimination of waste? Are you engaging in vigorous, joyous movement so that your heart muscle is challenged, so that your body's waters, your lymphatic system, and your circulatory system, so that they're moving and flushing the body daily? Are you engaging in daily, vigorous, joyous movement? If not, without any judgment, consider why. You're invited to tap in and to just do a scan over your whole body. Does your body feel vibrant? Does it feel alive? Does it feel stiff? Does it feel limited in its range of motion? You're invited to consider, do you allow angry people, mean people, bullies to enter into your orifices, whether that is your reproductive organs, into your ears, into your eyesight? Do you entertain and consume bullying behavior? And without beating up or condemning yourself, you're invited to ask yourself, your divine innate intelligence, why? And be open as you move about quietly to listening in to the answer. Are you respectful to your internal organs that flush out poisons like the kidney, the liver, so important, the spleen, your heart muscle? Are you protective with healthy boundaries of your heart muscle? Are you protective of the chemicals that are secreted when we're under stress? Are your organs being overworked because you don't have a healthy or regular practice to release stress and to manage stress? Are you resting your eyes on green and nature daily, whether that's house plants, whether that's 4K videos in your little garden? How much time are you allowing for preparation of beautiful food full of nutrients and vitality and living water that have been prepared by your own divine hands, with your own loving energy, with care and consideration. How often are you engaging in preparation of divine food, food that's infused with love and care for yourself? Are you allowing time for quiet? Consider at what time you are turning off devices that are infusing you with messages and instructions. Are you allowing time with healthy boundaries to turn those things off so that you can tune into your own divine, on-board, innate intelligence that does not need a middleman or a middle woman? Are you taking any time during the middle of the day for a mental health break, where perhaps you're lying on the floor doing nothing in a fetal position? Are you able to manage and to neutralize knee-jerk reactions as other human beings trigger you? Have you made the investment in learning communication skills that go beyond what you were given as a child in your family? How often are you experiencing peace and calm during the course of your day? Do you embrace and trust your own divine onboard intelligence? Do you trust yourself enough to remove yourself from harm's way? Do you trust your intelligence enough to know that it can choose foods that are ideal for your human suit, for your body temple? Do you trust your own divine onboard and innate intelligence to enact a vetting process for whoever you allow into your intimate spaces, whether that be mental or physical? Are you investing in your glow? Are you investing in your own character for you as opposed to others? You're invited to create a great day, one that you can be proud of yourself and no one is watching, on purpose, just because you said so. Feel free to allow different answers or intelligence to bubble up for you during the course of the day, perhaps while you're cutting up vegetables or decluttering or stretching. So, in contemplation, you're asking questions of your own onboard innate intelligence. I invite you to unapologetically create support for yourself, right? The way this brain is functioning, the mental activity of the brain, it is receiving instructions all the time. And so, unbeknownst to us, it is processing the instructions and the messages that are taking through our eyes and through our ears. I invite you to be protective of your health, your vitality, and your glow, because other folks have their own intentions. Tish Jamaica, good morning. The garden is getting so cold here in the UK. Maybe you can set up in the house. Yes, I have been known to garden in a little apartment. I'm the excuse buster. Nobody's going to tell me I can't grow some food. So shout out to Taste of Jamaica and Ashley and Emily and Miso. Oh, she has one of the most fantastic TikToks. Such a brilliant mind. Such a brilliant mind. Y'all go over and subscribe to her on TikTok, and I don't know if she still has her active YouTube, but such a mind as sharp as a tack. very proactive. So I'm inviting you all to create a great day on purpose. I was just really drawn to do a relaxation practice around all this pursuit of beauty to the point of almost insanity. And so context and narrative is everything. Are you writing the context? Is somebody else controlling the context? Like we're an animal on a leash, on a string when it comes to our beauty and our vitality. So over here, I have decided, and you'll find what your sweet spot is, to hand back folks' beauty to them. Here you go. Here you go. And I'll take the confidence and the health and the peace of mind and a healthy glow. I think that works more for me. I'll take sensuality and confidence and health over sexy. Y'all create a great day on purpose. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Do avail yourself if you like. There is Whole Living Foods in the Hood with menus to fit your budget. That is not the recipe book. That is insight into my about three decades of experience and about 11 going on 12 years eating primarily whole living foods, unprocessed foods. Some people call it raw as a lifestyle. It can be very affordable. It is very affordable. As well as I cleared my skin with food. So that's natural beauty, no products. Those resources are available on the website. Also, Goddess Cakes, the raw vegan intensive, that is available on body-culinary.com. So I'm starting to place more content over there. And I have a couple of things coming down the pipeline that are off of YouTube so that we can have safe spaces to process and be supportive, to go into the garden, to prepare some food, and to get into our movement practice. And if you're a proactive individual, that's what we're going to be doing. If you're talking about fruits and vegetables, your movement practice and peaceful consumption in your garden, then that's what we're up to. I'd love to come together around an activity that you're getting something back for the investment of your time and your attention. So feel free to get on the mailing list so that you will know when there are special events. If you are a member of the Patreon, you will get, here comes my sister to go in the garden, you'll get notified of when those are coming up. The Goddess Cakes, that is available on the website. Y'all create a great day, and I will see you soon.